Hello everyone, welcome back to another Friday and another casual champion review. I am already sick of Karma. This is now the second game I've played. I played one game of Karma already and I got her mid lane and it went pretty well. So now I'm forced to play Karma again as support this time because I got failed in support. But I guess that is her secondary role. I guess it's supposed to be her primary role, but mid lane became the most optimal one as of recently, which we'll talk about later because I really don't like this champion. Oh my goodness. You know what I don't hate though? Fan art section. There's not many this time. I know interest in Karma isn't exactly the greatest. To me, she's up there with like, I guess Jace is out of the club now because of Arcane, but it was like Jace, Xin Zhao, Nocturne, Karma. Just a bunch of champions that you know in the back of your mind exist in the game, but you forget about them all the time. Karma is like that for me for the longest time until Malignus happened. But thank you to the fellas who did the fan art section. You're all awesome. Thank you. We're also fighting Draven Vel'Koz. So I imagine in 5 nanoseconds we're going to get pushed under our tower and die. But I guess I don't have to worry about farming too much, so I can kind of just relax and talk about Karma, or should I say Dara, because that is her actual name, because Karma is not the person you see here. Karma is like the avatar in a way. It's a spirit that is passed down to the generations. So once the current Karma dies, then Karma is reincarnated into a next host, and I am a prophet, aren't I? And just like Avatar, the current Karma has the ability to reflect and talk to or get visions of her past lives, and that's how Dara found out that she was Karma, because she randomly started getting visions. But the visions weren't like visions of the future. They felt more like memories. And so they became so frequent and happening so often that she thought she was going insane. But eventually a bunch of monks came to visit her. They were looking for the newest reincarnation of Karma. And Dara screamed like, "Oh God, please help me. I think I'm going insane. I'm gonna die." And Karma goes, "Oh, wait a second. I recognize your voice. You sound like the people from my visions. Am I going crazy?" And they say, "No, no, no, no. That just means you're Karma." I don't know if she understood what that meant, but now she has to go with them, leave behind her entire life, her family, her friends, to go train to become the new, I guess it's technically spiritual leader of Ionia. So she was brought to a place called the Lasting Altar, where she has stayed there for the rest of her days to train, to be able to connect with her past lives and the spirit of Ionia inside, the spirit of Karma. And the monks there taught her the most traditional of Ionian principles. They're all about peace and harmony and balance and pacifism mainly. There shouldn't be any kind of conflict and they should cease from violence, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense because the spirit of Karma is ridiculously powerful. I'm pretty sure she is up there with some of the most powerful beings on Runeterra. And Karma, like a lot of people were in Ionia, I guess, would be a bit later, was kind of confused by this idea of being completely pacifistic even towards enemies. And these ideas of rebelling against the traditions of Ionia was only enforced more because of the Noxian invasion. They showed up, and she knew she had the power to be able to stop some of this, but her past lives and the monks urged her not to stick to the ways of pacifism. But eventually she had enough. She took control, said, "No, I'm making my own decision. I know what's right for Ionia. I'm going to go down there and fight." And she walks up. Oh, I don't know what's right for Twitch, though. She walks down to the battlefield in front of a whole fleet. I think it was a fleet of Noxian soldiers. She basically walks up to the whole Noxian fleet and basically just... there we go. She basically just Thanos snaps them out of existence. Like, in an instant, she annihilates them all. And the Ionians are like, "Oh my God, Karma, our savior, thank you." But the monks were horrified, believing that she had disgraced the history of Karma, disgraced her ancestors in the previous past lives. But Karma was like, "No, I'm listening. I don't just have my past lives within me. I have the spirit of Ionia itself. And the spirit of Ionia told me this was a good idea." It's kind of a way that Ionia itself is starting to... I'm getting 80 carried. The Ionia itself is starting to change its own values, believing that it doesn't need to be pacifistic anymore. That if people are hurting it, hurting its homeland, hurting the people, that they need to be able to fight back. Oh, I'm getting 80 carried again, aren't I? So Karma's kind of adopted the philosophy of now she still is about pacifism. That's the primary ideal of Ionia, but not completely. She will be pacifistic and will choose peace when possible, but if force is necessary to achieve the goal, to achieve the safety of her people, then she will do it. And to me, that is an interesting idea to have Karma be kind of a metaphysical mortal. She's not even really, she's mortal. I don't know. A human version of the way that Ionia is changing. She represents the changing values in Ionia. That's kind of neat. Unfortunately, there are plenty of champions who embody that idea already. Akali, Irelia, I guess you could argue even Yasuo. A ton of champions from Ionia already share the same motive of like, the old ways are dead, we need to be on the aggressive now. So having the spiritual leader of the lands feel that way too, maybe it's a way to say, oh yeah, see, even the lands are on our side, but it doesn't make Karma that unique, and also kind of removed a lot of the, I guess, stakes of her in Ruination, which I can't believe I'm going back to Ruination again, but Karma in Ruination should have been a big deal. And this was kind of a criticism, ouch, a criticism I had with Ruination as a whole, was that a lot of the champions that got corrupted didn't feel threatening enough. You know, Shyvana is fine, but she's basically just a dragon. Draven is completely played off as a joke, so he's not threatening at all. Pantheon, pretty threatening. Oh! It caught me while I was sneezing. But a character like Karma, or someone like, I'm getting AD carried, someone like Renekton, or I guess even Swain with demon powers. Bottom line is, Karma is a very important figurehead of Ionia. She is essentially the first lands personified. So for her to be corrupted should have been a big deal, but it didn't really amount to anything. She wasn't very threatening at all in the story anyway. Plus, I'm pretty sure the whole thing of her trying to fight back now, she's kind of on the side of Akali and Irelia of wanting to be aggressive against would-be adversaries. I'm fairly certain that was a retcon, that she wasn't like that before, and it kind of hinders her character arc in Ruination even more, because the whole thing that would have made her story interesting is, imagine you have this spiritual leader advocating for peace and harmony, and they're just there to help people their whole life, never being the aggressor, having this immense power at their hands, but only using it to help people, never for violence. And then all of a sudden, ow, she has to use her power against her own people for violence. Like, to me, that would make ruined Karma significantly more tragic if she still was a character purely about peace and about pacifism. But because it's shown and is part of her character arc that she is the Karma that is going to use violent force against her opponents, it kind of lessens that for me. But, you know, that's like saying, was really anything in Ruination that good? They kind of ruined pretty much any character that was involved in Ruination. I guess Senna was fine, but even an introduction to Gwen wasn't very good. They butchered Lucian and Rengar and Olaf, and I realized it's a stick in the mud the whole time. It's not good. I'm getting on a Ruination tangent again. Though I did just talk about Kalista last week, so can you blame me? Though she is a lot better than the old Karma. I don't even remember what old Karma's lore was, but for the fellas, the League Zoomers, I like using that term a lot. For the League Zoomers who wonder why traditional Karma is even a thing, why it has different animations and a different voice line, or different voice lines, that's because back in the day, when they first started doing big visual updates, and this was for, I believe, Karma, Trundle, and Sejuani, they would release what were called traditional skins. They would essentially be very, very similar to the old version of the champion with the old voice lines and everything, to kind of be a living time capsule of that old champion. It's something I wished had been kept forever. I would have loved if they had a traditional Scion or Swain or traditional Warwick or Urgot, just a fun way to keep the old champion intact while still obviously focusing on the new version. Not today, Squid Game. Looks like I'm the master of the game. Oh! I knew it. Oh! I don't remember what her deal with the fans was. I definitely like the new thing with the dragony yin-yang thing she's got going on now, and the wings and stuff. It feels a lot more unique. At least she has something visually to put across all her skins, though I don't think her skins are that great, if I'm being honest. I think my main thing with Karma is that the potential is there. Like, everyone loves Aang, everyone loves the Avatar. Good chunk of people like Korra. She's a bit too brash for me in the early. I couldn't get past season 2. I've been told that Korra gets really good in season 3. And I know parts of it. I know about Zahir, but I haven't watched it in full. I think I should probably try to watch it, but I just gotta find the time. But the idea of this Avatar-esque character of passing down the knowledge from generations, being reincarnated over and over in a sense, with these insane powers and being a magical religious leader, that thematic is really, really cool. I'm not a religious person. I wouldn't say I'm an atheist. What's the term? Agnostic, where I don't believe there's a god or kind of higher power, but I'm not opposed to the idea that there could be. Who knows? But something about religious-based characters that incorporate their religion as a power source is just fucking awesome. Like, oh, Squid Game. Like, who's that character? Oh, who's that character from DNF Duel? It's Crusader. That's who it was. It's, yes, using his holy might to smite his opponents. Something about that is just such a fun idea, and the idea that Karma is technically the first lands personified into a mortal human is awesome, but it's a problem like, you know, Garen or Darius, or I guess any of these other older champions, where the aesthetic of the region has evolved beyond them at this point, and Karma got reworked a long time ago. So unfortunately, how amazing and beautiful the aesthetics of Ionia are now have far eclipsed Karma's aesthetics by this point. And if they were to rework her again, I would have loved if they incorporated, god damn it, Talia, I would have loved if they incorporated more of that, more of these crazy, elaborate, like maybe have some vines and plants on her a bit. It's also just the incessant need to have, or I guess show skin on the character. She was back, you know, when all the ladies of League were designed to be that way. They all had to have skin showing and really pretty face. I just think as a spiritual leader, I would have liked her to have much baggier clothes, big poofy flowing fabrics and robes. I think would have made her look a lot more high status, a lot more, ethereal's not the word, but I think you know what I mean. This kind of highly elaborate ceremonial robe that I think would have made her feel a lot more distinct. Oh, she kind of just looks like currently, she looks like any Ionian citizen. She doesn't look that much higher status than them, even though she is technically, I would say, probably the most high status Ionian there is. Everyone respects her. I think there is massive potential with her. I just don't think they really captured what she has the potential to be, you know? What I wish could be captured as well is the ability for me to ban her every game, because I hate her. From a gameplay perspective, it's not like Callisto where it's like, man, I despise playing this character. She's not fun. Like, that's a me thing, and I think she's just really just aggravating to play. Karma, she's fine. I'm kind of falling asleep here. It's unique enough with the mantra stuff. It's just obnoxious is the best word I could use to describe it. Fighting a full AP Karma is just not fun. I fully believe she is technically a support, but can be played mid. She is 100% a burst mage in Enchanter's clothing. Ow! It doesn't help as well that Malignance kind of broke her. I love that Malignance is an item. I think it's very fun. It makes a lot of wacky builds that much more viable. But what it did to Karma is just, it feels like the Karma item. It just buffs her way too much. My mantra is on like a, my mantra is on like a 20-second cooldown because of it. And it's just, it feels unfair. Although I felt like I had a lot more impact when I was playing her mid lane. Playing her support did not feel as good, probably because I don't have as much, oh my goodness. I don't have as much money as I would if I was playing mid lane. But give this character some money, she destroys everything. I think it's like the Zoe conundrum where you can have champions that one-shot you with a whole ton of abilities, but the moment you get half-shot by one ability, doesn't feel very good. Not very fun. Don't like it. Oh, and tank Karma. Oh, Jesus. The tank Karma being a thing at all is disgusting. I hate it. I'm convinced the only people who play tank Karma play it just because they like pissing people off. It's like Singed and Teemo. It's just a playstyle that makes people angry on purpose. That's the point of playing it. On the topic of her skins, she has, I think Karma's really strapped for good skins. I like Darkstar a lot. Odyssey is just the table scraps of Sona, which it just feels like you're redoing the same idea over again, but worse. Ruined Karma. I've already said my grudges on how much cooler it could have been, though I like the idea of having her tears fall down her eyes. That's a cool visual motif. The Fairy Court one, is neat. You know, I'm happy that Karma Main's got a legendary for them. It's fine. I just think it doesn't really. I would have liked the Fairy Court Karma because you have separated by seasons. That you have Katarina with winter or Kalista with fall and stuff. That Karma would have been all the seasons in one. You could have had the motifs from every season. But it doesn't really feel like, I'm pretty sure she's just summer as well, or spring. She's one of them. She's just another season, though, despite she's the head honcho of all the seasons. So I think it would have been cool to mix them all together into one. She got Colgate Karma as well. That one's stupid. On the whole, I can't really say that Karma is particularly a character that interests me in any facet. You get like the semblance that something is there. There's a neat idea in her lore. There's a neat idea with her design, but it just feels half-baked in kind of every avenue, and it makes her a character that I don't get particularly excited about. I was not very excited to play the character this week. It's the first time I've played her in like 2 years, in fact. I think that must have been like an ARAM or something, because I think I have Mastery 1 on this character. I do not play this character ever, and after this video, I probably won't again for another 3 years. Okay, I think we've won the game. That went on for so much longer than I thought it would. But that's okay, because next week we get to look at a champion I actually like to play for once. We get to play Karthus. So I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching this Casual Champion review. I'll see you in the next one, okay? Goodbye.